Hello friends and welcome to today's video. So yesterday Midjourney dropped its update number 5.2 or version 5.2, and the major addition to this update is the ability to zoom out or outpaint an image. This is a very interesting function and you can do amazing things with this. So in this video I'll show you how you can do this zoom out or outpainting, and then I'm going to show you how I did this video using this zoom out or outpainting feature. So as you can see, it is seamlessly moving from one image to the outpainted image as if it was all part of one huge image. So as you can see, the whole thing is zooming out as if it was part of one huge image or one really high resolution image. And that is actually very easy to do with any video editor. So I'm going to use DaVinci Resolve to show you how I did this. So you can do your own, zoom out or zoom in animations using this zoom out feature by Midjourney. So it's actually very easy to create any kind of zoom out. So let's try an image. For example, let's try so I have my 4 images. Now in order to be able to zoom out, you need to upscale any one of these. So let's say I upscale the fourth one. I think I like the fourth one better. So now you have some additional options when you upscale this image. So you have zoom out 2x, zoom out 1.5x, and a custom zoom. So first of all, I'll show you what is zoom out 2x. So if you just press zoom out 2x, then Midjourney is going to take whatever prompt that is already there and zoom out using that prompt, or that is what I think it is doing. Or it's probably going to look at the scene, the image that you have generated, and try to add to that image without really asking you for any kind of direction. So as you can see, the original image is actually in the center and it's trying to outpaint around it, taking the information from what is inside the image or what is in the borders of the image. So the zoom out is done. So as you can see, it's basically taking whatever is in the center of the image and adds a lot more details around it. And sometimes it can be creative. For example, over here it seems to have created some kind of a door or gateway, and over here it didn't really create anything, just created black border. So using zoom out 2x or zoom out 1.5x leaves it out to Midjourney to decide what it's going to do with the image. But if you want control, and which is the fun way of using this zoom out feature, is using custom zoom. So now we have the same image, but we want to do a custom zoom, and let's see what happens when you press custom zoom. So when you press custom zoom, it actually gives you an option. You can actually zoom out twice, or you can actually zoom out 3 times. So for the sake of fun, let's zoom out 3 times and also change the prompt, and let's see what we get. Oh, okay, so it seems that it does not allow me to zoom out more than 2 times. Okay, fair enough. We'll try with 2. We'll try the custom zoom, leave it to 2, and have the same prompt, and let's try this one. So it seems that you can zoom out between 1.0 and 2.0, which means that you can try things like 1.1 to 1.9 if you want to be very exact. Usually I think that the 1.5 and 2.0 are going to give you the most, and for the kind of zoom out videos that we want to do, zoom 2 is just perfect. Okay, so Midjourney has finished generating the image. So yeah, so this time, because we asked it to include some visitors and we said that it must be a part of a zoo, so it's actually giving me this image. Let's just blow it up and let's see what we get. So the first 2 images, it looks like it is part of some zoo, but because Midjourney has to work with whatever information it has in the scene as well as the prompt that you provided. So the best way to make it look like a zoo was adding some animals. As you can see, it has added some animals, and because I asked it to add visitors, so we have visitors. And because there was no cage to begin with in the original scene, so it could not draw a cage over this tiger. And in the last 2 images, we can see that it has ignored the prompt that I asked for people, and it has even added fish. Anyways, I think the first 2 images are just right, and maybe I can upscale the first one and add completely different kind of prompt to see what kind of image we get. So again, we can upscale this, and now we again zoom out by 2x using custom zoom. And then, just for fun, just let's do something really out there. So I tried this prompt: an old CRT TV set showing jungle show, kids are watching TV in your room. Let's see what do I get. Okay, so it tried to do the best with the information that I provided. So over here, you can see that this tiger was actually put in a television or old television. And over here, tried to do the same, but with mixed results. So basically, the more out there prompt you're going to try, Midjourney is going to try its best to fit everything in so that it makes a coherent scene. So let's go really out there again. Let's try something even more crazy. And now let's do a custom zoom and let's see what we get. So Midjourney has finished generating this image. So yeah, it did what we expected. It actually took the whole scene and put that in a jar as if it's a terrarium. So we have interesting images. You can really go wild and create totally unrelated things while keeping the previous image inside it. And Midjourney will try to do its best to create the perfect image with your prompt and also with the image that it was provided. So now let's go to my editing software and let's see how we can put everything together to create that amazing zoom out animation of our Midjourney artwork. The first thing you have to do in order to create the animation is make sure that you download all of these zoomed out images in a serial so that you know which image is first and which image is second. So I'm going to save all of them in a serial by giving it numbers. So this is the first image. So I'm going to save this image as, and let's save all of our images here and number them in a serial. So this is the first image. So I'll call it 01. And then let's go to the second image. Save it as 02. And this is the way you need to go and download each image in a series and make sure that you number them accordingly so that when you put them together in the editing software, you know which one should come after which image. So now we're going to do the animation work in DaVinci Resolve, which is a free editing software. So for that, we're going to take a new project. Let's call it Zoom Animation. So because the Midjourney generations are 1:1 ratio, which means that each of the images are 1024 by 1024. So we want to create a 1024 by 1024 composition. If you want, you can actually make it 1920 by 1080 or 720 by 1280, no problem. But because the original images are in 1024 by 1024, I think it makes more sense to create a 1024 by 1024 timeline. So for that, let's create a new timeline, and I'm not going to use the project settings. I'm going to do custom setting. Let's create. Okay, so we have our timeline ready. So what we need to do is we need to bring in our image. So we're going to drag and bring our images. Make sure that they do not become a sequence, because sometimes when you number them as 1 2 3 4, then it tends to become a sequence, which is especially true in Premiere Pro. So now we just want to drag and put the image in our timeline. Now because we created the timeline as 1024 by 1024, it's a perfect fit. And if you go to the edit panel, you will see that each of these images are, I think, approximately 5 seconds long. So yeah, it's actually 5 seconds long, which is fine. If you want to make your animation last longer and the zoom out effect to be slow, then you have to then you can actually drag it and make it longer. And if you want to make your animation faster and snappier, you have to drag it and make it shorter. So for me, I think the 5 second is okay, just fine. I'll just use the 5 second. If you do change the duration, you have to make sure that all of the images that you bring in the timeline are of the same length. Now because the default is 5 seconds, so if I keep bringing the images one by one, they will all be of the same length. They will all be 5 seconds each. They will all stay in the screen for 5 seconds. So let's do that. Let's bring all of our images here. It's just 4 of them. Okay, and then we are going to do a very simple animation and then just copy the animation. So what's the animation that we're going to do? So this is going to be a zoom out animation. So for that, in the first image, you're going to zoom in first. So we're going to zoom in to 2. In Premiere Pro, this probably will be 200%, but in DaVinci Resolve, it's just 2. And then you're going to create a keyframe over here, and then go to the very last frame of this image and make the zoom to 1, and automatically another keyframe is created. So what we have here is we have this zoom out animation from 2 times zoom to 1 time zoom, or 200 times to 100 times zoom. Okay, and then what you have to do is we'll just, so now that we have done it, so we have to do it in every frame. So the simplest way of doing it is copying the attributes. So for that, you right click and copy, and then you go to the next one, right click and paste attribute. So over here I'm going to say that I only want the zoom attributes to be pasted, and apply. Let's see what we have, and yes, we do have a very smooth zoom out. So our technique worked, and we have a very smooth zoom out animation in the first two images. So now let's do the same with the remaining two frames, remaining two images. So again, right click here and paste attribute, and it's already selected, so apply, and right click here, paste attribute and apply. So now when we play the animation from the beginning, what will we see? It has a very smooth playback. So it's very smooth, like as if it's one continuous image, or as if it was a very high resolution image and you are just zooming out. So what we need to do is basically create an output. So let's go to the last frame and press O. So now we're ready to render this much of the frames from the timeline. So let's deliver this folder, and let's call it zoom out tiger. I like creating MP4s, they are smaller in size. So make sure that your resolution is the same as the resolution that you inputted. And also, if you want to add a soundtrack, you can just add a soundtrack in the audio timeline here and cut it where your footage ends. So if you have done that, just click here, add to render, and then render all. I think our rendering is done. Let's watch the animation. So it's actually pretty smooth, this zoom out effect. Looks very cool actually. So if you have lots of image, then of course make sure that the time you take is actually smaller. Each of the frames can last 2 seconds or 3 seconds. That way the entire zoom out will feel much more quicker. Now what happens if you want to zoom in instead of zooming out? So in order to do that, you have to reverse the image sequence, which means that you have to go 4 first, then 3, then 2, that 1, and then instead of zooming from 2 to 1, you have to zoom out from 1 to 2. So let me show you. So let's change the order. And so let's start from 1, and in the last frame let's go to 2. So now we have a zoom in effect. So let's copy this and let's paste it in the remaining frames, and then what we have is a very smooth zoom in effect. So this is a very cool way to create zoom out as well as zoom in animation. So I hope you guys liked today's video. If you want more AI related content and learning, please subscribe my channel, and if you like today's video, please like my video. So we'll come back again with another AI related video. So I'll come back again with another AI generation video. So see you then. Goodbye.